An urgent manhunt underway as Montana officials search for this man, Michael Paul Brown, who they say gunned down 4 people Friday morning at the Owl Bar in western Montana.
Ed, we're out here today talking about 2 major manhunts for 2 multiple murderers. Mass murderers might be the way to describe this. One is over, one is ongoing. This guy down in Jackson, Tennessee, Austin Drummond, has been caught. We're following that, and as we record this, we can say that Austin Drummond is now in custody. He killed 4 people, kidnapped a baby. Well, allegedly killed 4 people, kidnapped a baby, and police were looking for him all around Jackson, Tennessee. There's video of him wandering through the area. Out in a place called Anaconda, Montana, another guy, I believe his name is Michael Brown. Authorities are looking for him in the mountains now near the Continental Divide, also for killing 4 people in a bar. And the big question is, what should people be doing when things like this happen? And what have we told people for months, years?
Lock your doors.
At all times. You can see on the video this guy down in Tennessee walking around, and honestly, these security cameras and Ring doorbells and stuff like that helped catch this guy, but he was just walking around holding an AR pistol, checking doors, trying to get in there, looking for things that will help him on his escape and on hiding in the woods and trying to get away from stuff.
Well, and when the first story hit, I was immediately reminded of, you remember sometime back 10 or so years ago, a couple of guys escaped from a prison in New York State?
Yeah, it might not even have been 10, but time flies. But yes, I remember.
I remembered seeing during the news coverage of that, of course, they were out sticking microphones and cameras in people's faces in the search area. And this guy announced to the news camera that he was ready to defend himself and his family with a 12-gauge shotgun, 00 buck. And I remembered thinking, okay, well, that's a good plan. But what was a terrible plan was to announce that on television. If you are in the search area for a desperate individual, like violent escaped felon, mass murderer who is now on the loose being chased by the police, whatever, you absolutely need to be ready to defend yourself and your family. But one, never under any circumstances talk to news media people, period. If somebody runs up to you with a camera, don't talk to them.
Yeah, just walk away.
But especially don't announce that there are firearms in your home. Because when people have either escaped from prison or they're on the run from the cops, what they're after is food and water, change of clothes, transportation, weapons.
Yes.
So absolutely have those firearms ready to go to defend yourself and your family, but keep it low key. For goodness sake, keep it low key. And just to reiterate, lock your doors.
Yeah. Lock your doors at all times. Lock up your stuff. This guy out in Montana broke into a vehicle, got camping equipment, got other stuff, was probably looking for a firearm if he could find one. And you aptly ask, where's your truck gun? You know, if your truck gun is in your truck, we got to have a way to secure it, because now this guy's got your truck gun.
And it was one thing back in the old days when most cars had a trunk.
Right.
Like a trunk that sometimes even took a different key than the ignition and the doors. And I'm not saying criminals didn't know how to get in trunks. Of course they did. But it wasn't just that weird, the thing that can pass all the cafe standards that everything that is in a truck looks like now, those crossovers.
Right.
There isn't a trunk in most of those. It's just inside that vehicle. Or in an SUV, it's just inside that vehicle. And unless you've made the wise investment into something like a console safe or a headrest safe or some other way to actually, as you put it, secure that gun, that firearm within that vehicle. What are all the jokes that people get so mad when we pointed out, you know, gun decals? It's an ancient language that means there's a free gun inside.
Yeah.
Right.
That sort of thing that's telling people, you know, this vehicle defended by Smith & Wesson. Well, if you're not there for someone to just smash open your windows and take what's inside your car, you're not going to be defending that stuff that has become available to an obviously violent, deranged mass murderer. And in this week, there's 2 of them out there, and there'll be all sorts of arguments about from folks on the left about gun control and stuff like that. That's not what we're here to talk about. Talking about the things you can do to protect yourself. This guy wandering around Jackson, Tennessee, and we have friends in Jackson, Tennessee, people that we know very, very well, and police were putting out the shelter-in-place directives, like stay in your home, lock your doors, lock your windows. This guy is walking around trying to get stuff which will help him in his escape. The basic things that we've talked about for so long, reinforcing your door jambs and different things like that, locking that door between your garage and your house becomes so vitally important to stop this person from getting access, or at least slow the access and make it more difficult, maybe make that person go somewhere else.
Well, and let's walk through moment by moment. Say you are in this search area and you're not at work, you're at home, you lock the door to the garage, you lock the back door, you lock the garage door, and maybe if you don't normally carry, you holster up a pistol and you have it on your person, and somebody rings the doorbell.
Yeah.
Or knocks on the door. Okay, well, nowadays, the Fuller Brush man and the vacuum cleaner salesman and all of the other people, encyclopedia salesmen, etc. I don't get a lot of knocks on my door and rings on my doorbell anymore. But what do you do? Now, I don't like putting cameras all over my residence. I've never done that. I'm one of those people that I'm photographed enough in public, don't want to do it. But this is a good argument for one of those Ring doorbell cameras, to see whether it's the UPS guy or to see whether it's somebody you don't know who's holding a rifle, rather than just walk up and open the door. Now, you also don't want to just, quiet.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if this is the bad person and they think your home is unoccupied, they may well go around to the back and kick in the door to try to see if they can find food, water, clothes, transportation, etc. in your residence. So you're going to want to scheme out a couple of different ways to handle. You're in a lockdown situation like this because there is a known armed and dangerous felon in the area. What are you going to do if somebody knocks on the door?
Yeah, I want people to, if you've got the Ring doorbell and you can use the app and talk through that, use the app and talk through that from not standing right behind the door. If somebody decides they want to shoot through the door and kick it in or something like that, you could be in trouble that way. Use that app, ask them who they are, tell them, well, I don't have anything here for you, maybe when my husband gets home or whatever, whatever you want to say at that point, just tell them to go away. Tell them that you're going to call the police, something of that nature. I also want people to look out windows. And if you can have your house set up, or if your house is set up so that you can, from some other window, see your front door if you don't have a camera, that's an amazing advantage.
Well, let's talk about apartments too. A lot of people, especially a lot of people under 50, don't own houses. Let's talk apartments. I had an apartment once where if the doorbell rang and I thought, oh boy, the ammo's here, or whatever I was getting delivered.
Yeah.
Get up, go through the kitchen, go down a flight of 15 stairs and look through the peephole and answer the door. Now, it was the ammo guy. It was the brown truck of happiness that showed up and brought my case of ammo. But if it isn't, if it is the escaped mass murderer, where's your gun?
Yes. It should be on your person.
It should be on your person. But if you have your home defense gun in your little safe next to your bed, but you go, oh boy, and you run down the 15 steps to answer the door and you realize that, oh, this is not the UPS guy. This is somebody that I'm going to need to deal with physically. So keep that in mind as well. I would say always keep that in mind. Have maybe a door answering gun. I've written columns about this topic. But if you are in the search area for a specimen like this one, if you're not wearing your gun, it's time to be wearing your gun.
Yeah,
and don't get crazy on edge. Don't shoot at sounds or any other ridiculous nonsense. But make sure that it is on you, and make sure maybe a few other things are on you too. If you grab a gun, that means it's time to grab a flashlight. Right?
And have your phone, some way of
you
communication.
You need to have your phone. You need to have a reload. I'm a big believer in if you're carrying a gun, you should be carrying a reload. But don't let the moment sneak up on you where you're taking fire through your door from a rifle and thinking, you know what I had upstairs that I should have brought with me?
It would have been nice to
was
have
that
this.
Beretta 92. Yeah.
And I've heard people say all the time, and these are the tactical people, and well, your handgun is just allowing you to fight your way to your long gun.
Right.
Well,
my car's just for getting to my airplane, whatever.
If you don't have your handgun when the fight starts, you are at a distinct disadvantage. And your handgun can be in a holster or in a sling bag or in a fanny pack or whatever. But if you're more than 3 seconds away from your handgun, you are unarmed. And in these cases, and two very well-publicized cases just inside a week now of folks who, are in communities in grave danger from these types of people walking around. Keep your handgun with you. Keep your defensive tools with you, even though it might be uncomfortable. I got home, I can finally take this gun off. It's been rubbing against my hip or whatever. No, don't do that. You need to be prepared.
And this is why I argue for, even if you carry concealed every day, or even if you don't carry concealed at all, but you own a handgun, I'm a big believer in have a comfortable outside the waistband holster with some level of retention. If we're talking about an old Model 10 Smith & Wesson revolver, even just a hunter holster with the snap strap that goes over the top, even just that, so you can comfortably wear it around your residence. Now, maybe you don't wear pants with a belt. Okay, well, find a comfortable way to have that gun on you. That's the whole point of a handgun. Obviously, handgun bullets aren't as effective as rifle bullets. That's what that guy really means.
You're right.
When he says it's just for fighting my way to my rifle. Okay, yeah, we get it. But say there is some psycho wandering the area with a slung rifle. What are the cops going to be looking for?
Yeah, some psycho wandering
So
there.
even though it seems like we shouldn't have to say this, let's go ahead and both say this. If there is an escaped mass murderer in your area, don't go try to get him.
Right.
Do not put together a citizens patrol to go out and try to do a deer drive to get this guy, because there's going to be a lot of edgy law enforcement officers around. These are not their woods, likely. This is probably Marshal's service now, if he's crossed state lines, or if not, it's going to be state police. There's a good chance they're not from the area that you live in. So these aren't their woods. So they're going to be nervy. They're going to be on edge. They're going to want to get this over with, and they're going to want to make sure that this terrible person can't hurt anyone else. And if you're walking around with a rifle, that at least slightly ups your chances of maybe somebody making a mistake, and everyone will be very sorry, and everyone will say that it was a terrible mistake, but you'll still be dead. So if they tell you to stay at home, stay at home. Put on a gun, handgun, if you have one, in a way that you can comfortably carry it. Have a reload or 2 or 3. Normally we recommend 1 reload, but yeah, if the word's officially gone out that like, he's out there, folks, stay at home until we can find him, that's the time to maybe have more than 1 reload.
Yeah, have some extra ammunition with you.
Keep your phone with you, keep a flashlight with you, and if you have something like a tourniquet, or if you have one of those battle belts that some people think is so weird, I'd throw that on. Again, we're not necessarily into terrible personal emergency yet, but we're into, this will do till the emergency gets here. This is a bad situation, and you need to be ready to deal with a terribly bad person.
And one of the things we need to stress as well is to communicate the rest of this stuff to your family. And that can sometimes be especially difficult, communicating it to teenagers, that, hey, this is going to interrupt your life for maybe a day or two, but in order to remain safe, in order to be vigilant, understand that walking around the world can be a dangerous thing. When you know a person is out there, suddenly you need to take that even more seriously than before.
Yeah, this is a tornado watch, tornado warning situation where it just got bumped up from world is a dangerous place, be careful, to it's not only in this county, it's around here.
Yeah, now there's a dangerous person here who has allegedly, we say that again, committed murder and kidnapping and is a violent felon recently released from prison. And I mean, this guy in Tennessee, released from prison and out on bond for attempted murder when this entire thing happened. I don't know many of the details of what happened in Montana, but now they think he's out in the woods. So if you got business in the woods, you want to go hiking, you're going kayaking, whatever it is you're doing up in the woods, now is the time to remember, this is not just your bear gun anymore. This is your human predator gun.
Well, there's that, and there's also, and I hate to use movies, but unfortunately movies are the new fables, and people relate to them better. The one in Montana, if this was a movie, what would happen next? He's going to go find a cabin, right?
Right, and he's going to kick in the door of a cabin.
If you have a vacation property, and I never do this, but it's surprised me over the years how many people do this. Don't leave firearms there. I understand that you might want to leave ammunition there. Like, I keep a brick of 22 at the cottage for when my niece and nephew or my grandkids or whoever are up there and we're going to go shooting. But don't leave guns there. Don't leave firearms there. Because anybody, you don't have to be a master tracker to know whether anybody's been at a property for a while. If you walk up on a cottage or a cabin and it's obvious that there's nobody there and you're in this kind of desperate situation, you're going to break in and you're going to see what you can get. It's going to be that Rambo at the bulldozer moment where he finds the tarp and he finds the string and et cetera.
Yeah.
So keep your firearms under your control. That is essential. And that also means, yeah, you lock the door, but that, for the most part, keeps honest people out.
Right. It's nothing to kick in the doors to cabins. That happens all the time here in Wisconsin. We hear about it all the time.
Yes.
That nope, nobody's up there. Somebody went around, kicked in, see what they could find. And even if you have a gun safe in the cabin, unless it's a really good one, the guy who's just kicked in your door now has all day and all night to work on that gun safe and try to figure out what's what. Or maybe find the key that you left hanging somewhere because you didn't want it to, you needed to be able to get a hold of that key and you didn't want to be inconvenienced if things were locked up.
Well, something else that a lot of cabins have is an axe.
Right.
And if you get the $99.99 gun safe, guess what you can use to open those up? An axe.
Yeah.
Most of them that cost less than a few $1,000s, you can just cut into with an axe or an angle grinder, or I'm not going to give people more ideas on how to steal guns, but yeah, keep control of your firearms and keep them with you.
Bringing this back around to if you come face to face with this person. First of all, people should be watching the news. They should be paying attention wherever they get their news so that they know what the fugitive looks like. They can at least give a description or, that's a weird guy I haven't seen in the neighborhood before, just walking around wearing a camouflage jacket and carrying a brown backpack. That sounds like the guy the cops were looking for.
One of the best ones that, because we go to a lot of events where we're out in the middle of nowhere with no cell service. And if you need something like an address or a map, or in this case, a surveillance photo of the guy who's going around murdering people, you might not be able to pull it up on your phone.
Right.
So if you can get that screen on your phone to show you the page that has the picture of the person on it, learn how to do a screenshot on your phone. So if there is a dangerous fugitive in your area, you can go to the page that has, the news site or whatever. Okay, there it is. Screen grab it, and have that so you don't have to go punch up that site again and hope that you can find the picture again. Yeah. Have it ready to go.
Yeah, it's right there on your phone. The screenshot you took today. There's maybe 300 other ones on there because, you're taking pictures of your food for Instagram, but still.
I do like a good picture of a good sandwich.
Yeah. It might be there. And then, of course, don't approach this person. Don't engage with this person unless you are in imminent danger or someone that you love is in imminent danger. Call the police and let the police handle that. They will do it. And if you see the person and you can narrow down the search area, now they're not looking in, 300 city blocks. They're looking in 3 city blocks. That's going to help out. You don't need to jump into this. Again, we tell people all the time, only engage in deadly force in incidents like this if you must. And if the guy's just, walking through the backyard trying to find some stuff in your shed, which will help him on his escape plan, call the police and at least get him in that area.
Do you remember how the movie Unforgiven ends?
No, I don't remember how it ends.
Spoiler alert, but this movie is decades old.
Clint Eastwood rides off into the sunset with the kids and starts a coffee shop or something in San Francisco.
I think that was one of the orangutan movies. I'm not sure. But the way that Unforgiven ends is after there's the big shootout in the bar. He says, all right, I'm coming out. Any man I see out there, I'm going to kill him. And he blah, blah, takes a shot at me. I'm not going to kill him. I'm going to kill his wife. And nobody shoots at him, of course, because they're all scared to. If you are in the upstairs of your residence, hunkered down, and you're pretty sure that that criminal, that violent, murderous criminal is walking through your backyard, if you take a shot at that person, a couple of different things might happen. You might stop them right there. And that's a lot more likely with a shotgun slug or a rifle or a centerfire rifle bullet, at least, than with a handgun. Yep. Or you might miss, and now they know that they're receiving fire from where you are. Either one of those is going to be difficult for you. One, of course, way more difficult than the other. But depending on where you are, you may have a much tougher legal go of it than law enforcement would. If one of the PD or sheriff's office sharpshooters, takes this guy's head off at 70, 80, 90 yards when he's trying to hide under a canoe, that's one thing. If you do it, that's going to be different. The other issue is, depending on where you live, I hate to say it, and I'm glad I don't live in one of those places, but people cut through backyards all the time.
Yeah.
If you shoot the wrong person, They are not going to say, well, I mean, he was trying, you know.
Yeah.
So it is.
Are you sure?
Are you sure? And you have to be sure. And look, we don't have to tell people watching these videos, look, if somebody starts beating in your door, when it just so happens that there's also a mass murderer loose running around murdering people, and the door breaks open and you shoot and stop that person and they end up dying from you shooting them, it's probably going to be the guy.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about is don't get squirrely. Don't try to be a hero and start taking shots at people just because they look unfamiliar. This is the kind of thing that when people basically come out of their trance some number of hours later, they're crying in a jail cell. Why did I do that?
Yeah.
I didn't even know who that was. Why did I shoot at that guy? So let the professionals handle it. They're going to have a hard enough time as it is. That's the best advice that we can give is get ready, follow instructions. If they say stay home, unless she's having the baby right now, stay home.
Yeah, allow this to interrupt your life for a little while.
Don't muddy the waters. Yeah. Don't go out, try to find the person. If they come to you and you have to defend yourself, you have to do what you have to do. But follow directions, stay home, try to stay out of it, and deal with it if you can.
Absolutely great advice. Thanks a lot, Ed. Hey, before you go, let me ask you, are you breaking these gun laws without even knowing it? Get a free concealed carry map that reveals the gun laws in your state and the states you might be traveling to. Click the link in the description below to check it out.